Look at that. Whew. Hello, welcome to Paul Plays with Fire. I'm Paul, and I like to play with fire. You know, I was just walking up to the mailbox the other day, and a fella comes up to me and says, "Hey, Paul Plays with Fire. When are you going to make chili? The weather's starting to cool off. They're playing football. It's time to make chili." So I guess we're making chili today. It's also cast iron day, so we're going to make chili in this big monster. Size 12 deep. That should hold it all. And what goes good with chili? Cornbread. So we got this little guy that we're going to do cornbread. Should be fun. Stick around, see how it goes. Okay, we're making chili. We're going to start with some ground beef, and we're going to season it. We've already got the Dutch oven on the fire, warming up. Got some salt. We got some fresh cracked pepper. We got a little garlic, probably a tablespoon or two of diced garlic. It goes in there good when the meat's cooking. Smells real good too. Got a little ground ancho pepper. I love this stuff. Been a humid summer. A little smoked paprika. And a little ground cumin. Now, I don't use any chili powder at all, but I think the ingredients I just put on there are basically chili powder. So now we're going to add that to the Dutch oven and get it started. Now it's time to add our meat to the Dutch oven, and boy, you can tell it's plenty good and hot. Good. Just how we want it. Now there ain't no cooking dial on these, so if you want to turn them down, you got to move on off the heat. So we'll just have to keep adding ingredients to keep ahead of it. Next up, we're going to add a little onion. Time is always against us. A little green pepper. I grabbed 2 of them out because they're small. Bet the little critters around here love me on this Paul Plays with Fire cooking desk, because I'm always dropping food. Chili has been a favorite of mine for years. I've cooked chili ever since I was a young adult. I just kind of made my own, and now what I call it is 11 can chili. It started out as 8 can chili, and it's grown over the years, and now it's 11 cans. So we'll talk about those cans a little bit. But basically, what it is, once you chop up the raw ingredients and get them going, it's really not too hard. Okay, now we're adding our onions and our peppers, mostly to the pan. We'll move that in a little closer here. I use my Wonder Bar. This is my fancy dancy cast iron Dutch oven tool. Now it's starting to look pretty good. It's starting to smell pretty good too. Another trick to this dish: season all the way through. A little more salt, a little more pepper, and maybe another little splash of ancho. stir that all around. Now it's time to start opening some cans. Okay, we call this 11 can chili, right? So what are the 11 cans? We got 3 cans of Rotel. Those will go in here next because I want the tomatoes to kind of caramelize and get exposed to some heat a little bit because it sweetens them up. And then of course we got chili beans. Only makes sense, doesn't it? Chili beans with their sauce. And then we got some black beans. It gives it a little variety to the chili. They're really, really good, and it just makes it gives it a little different look and taste and feel. And then we got 2 cans of V8. I'll give a nod to my cousin Wendy, the chef. She's the one that got me to doing this, and it gives it a little more tomatoey flavor. It gives it a little more volume too. And then finally, I got, let's see, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I got 2 cans of beer, but then there's, oh darn, there's an extra beer. I guess that one's for me. Next up, we're adding our 3 cans of Rotel tomatoes. Like I said, I like to get them in there first because it allows the higher heat that the tomatoes will get here, allows the tomatoes to kind of caramelize and darken and sweeten up a little bit. These are temperatures that they wouldn't get inside the regular chili once it's got all its ingredients in there. So we'll give that just a couple of minutes, and the tomatoes in a way act as a deglazing. So when the liquids from the tomatoes have evaporated, then we'll move on. The tomatoes have darkened and reduced enough that I'm ready to move on to the next step, which is to add some beans. Here's 1 can of chili beans. That's with the sauce that comes in the can. And then our drained black beans, 2 cans of V8. This is a moment of truth where I find out if everything fits. I think it will. And our 2 beers. That just gives it some volume and liquid and gives it a kind of a unique flavor. It lets you know it's Paul Plays With Fire chili. Give that a stir. And then we'll turn that every 15 minutes or so, because obviously this side is going to be hotter than this side, and so we'll just kind of, and we may pull some, once these logs catch on too, we'll pull some logs out and maybe put some more logs underneath it. But for now it's kind of good to go for a couple hours or until halftime of the football game. Now we're going to make the cornbread. The chili's coming along nicely, and so it's time to get some cornbread on the fire. Okay, so we have just regular old Jiffy cornbread mix here, and to that we're going to add an egg and 1/3 cup of milk. And that's just strictly according to package directions on the Jiffy package. Been making it this way for years. It's delicious. And then mix those ingredients up. Look at that. Perfect. Okay, I've moved the chili out of the way to give the preference to the cornbread, and have moved the cornbread pan in there and got some hot oil in there. I'm going to scoop that into the pan. Well, I hope that turns out. It looks awfully thick. Maybe out at least too long. Well, I'm sure it'll be just fine. And it's already taking off, so put the lid on there. Turn it every couple minutes. Oh, that's right, I need to add some coals to the top too. That's more like it. We want this to cook pretty hot, so we'll need a pretty good size bunch of coals on top. Maybe feed it around the edge since they're nice and hot. Ooh-wee. Note to self, don't fall into the fire. Okay, we'll call it good for now. Let's see how it looks in 10 minutes or so. Well, the chili is coming along nicely. It looks great. Smells great. Smoky fire tonight though. Probably the Dutch oven cooking. And I was afraid that I'd burned the cornbread. I think it got a little hot on the edges at first. But we've got nice separation. It's pulled away nicely. So oh boy, I finally got a whiff of it. It smells really good. So we're going to pull that off and bring it up to the Paul Plays With Fir desk for an unveiling. We're back at the Paul Plays With Fir desk and we're about to unveil the cornbread. See how we did or didn't do. Before we unveil, I have to admit I'm a little afraid I burned it, at least around the edges. We'll see when we open it up. It smells delicious. It looks a little crusty, but you know, I'm getting it out of there, sort of. Well, it's not bad. I will admit, this is my first attempt doing cornbread in a Dutch oven. So that is not bad at all. I will actually take that. I will eat that. I will eat that and eat that. Yes, very nice. I wonder what the bottom looks like. That's not bad. Apparently I need to rotate more. That's what the bottom tells me. Okay, next up the chili. Okay, I moved this big bad boy full of chili up here on the Paul Plays With Fir desk, and we're going to dig in. The cornbread's done. It looks delicious. Oh, look at that. It's a little crumbly, but for my first effort in a Dutch oven on real fire, I feel pretty good about it. So, just up some chili. Oh, very nice smokiness to it. I'm very happy with how that turned out. It's still distinctly Paul Plays With Fir chili, but something about being in the cast iron on the fire adds a real something to it that you just don't get otherwise. A little bit of that cornbread to go with it. And what I really like to do is throw some of that cornbread right into the chili. Look at that. Whew. Well, this has been Paul Plays With Fir, and I'm glad you stuck around to the end. I'm so glad you all came out. We'll see you next time.